Hello folks, I thought you might like to join me today to learn how to make one of my newborn cuddlies. So made in a DK or even a 4-ply if you wanted to, is why they're named newborn cuddlies, because they're just the perfect size for little hands. The more you go up a thickness of yarn, obviously the bigger it's going to get, and then they're suitable for children as they age. There's a few rules and regulations with regards to selling any of these things. I have tested my pattern, but each person who makes a product has to then test the finished product. So that has to be done by each individual person. I don't tend to sell them, I tend to just gift them, and there's lots of babies coming this summer around me, so I'm just trying to get little things made up for them, as well as hats and booties and blankets and all that sort of stuff. So what I've got out today, I've got my scissors. This is a DK weight yarn. When I am doing amigurumi, I drop down a hook size. So recommended for a DK is a 4mm. So I have dropped down to a 3. And I have got a stitch marker. Because I'm continually working in the round rather than finishing off each row, I place a stitch marker at the start of each row. Sorry, 2 seconds. Sorry, the dogs are probably going to make a little bit of noise today. So my pattern, I really struggle to make lots of different pieces of a cuddly toy and then sew them on in the right position. So I came up with a pattern where you join everything as you go, so it's all crocheted into place, and then obviously it's more secure and you're less likely to have the fear that an ear's going to come off or an arm's going to come off. So what we're going to make first is the arms, because you need to have them ready for when you get up to that stage on the body to then crochet them into place. So I have done a video for the magic ring before. There's a few techniques in here I've done videos for already, but I'll go over them again in this video just to refresh. So wrap my yarn around, under the front one, grab the back one, pull it through, wiggle my fingers out, get my yarn comfortable, and that's my magic ring ready to go. So chain 1 to lock it, and I'm going to start with 6 single crochets into my magic ring. Now, I have done a brief video as well with the difference of yarn over and yarn under. When I'm making teddies, I prefer yarn under. It gives you a much more compact stitch, no gaps, no stuffing poking through, and gives a very neat appearance. Again, for testing, you want that. I mean, the dowel that they give you is pretty chunky. You'd have to crochet really, really loose to be able to jam that through, but it just makes it much neater. So I'm going to go through. My yarn is going to come under my hook. Oop. Pull it through, and then again, yarn on the underneath of my hook and pull it through. And I'm going to do this another 5 times. So through, grab, through, grab, through, 4, 5 and 6. Count my little V's back just to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to pull the tail and I'm going to close this loop. Now I am going to increase to 12 stitches. So now I need to work 2 single crochets into each stitch. So another technique for amigurumi is invisible increases and invisible decreases. So the method that I learned for an invisible increase, so I'll count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure that I'm going into this very first one. I'm going to go into the front loop only to start with, and I kind of have to hook it with my fingernail because it is quite small. Yarn under my hook, pull through, yarn under, pull through, and then I'm going to place my stitch marker in that very first stitch so that I don't lose count of my stitches. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the front one and under the back one. So front loop only to start with, and then the second stitch front and back. If you're trying this for the first time, I would probably recommend using an Aran or a chunky to get yourself familiar with the stitches. DK yarn can be quite fiddly when you're just starting out, so go up to something chunkier till you get comfortable. Okay, so under the first one, pull it through, and then under both. Okay, I'm going to do that all the way around. Sorry, get some more yarn. Under the front loop only, and then the back loop. Front loop only, and then both. Front loop only, both. Front loop only, move that out of the way, and both. So now if I count back, take that out, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, where my stitch marker was placed at the very beginning. Also as well, if you take your hook out and you're not sure which way it goes back in, because it can change the layout, if I see where my yarn is pulling from, I know that the moving bit needs to be towards the back for when I'm doing yarn under. If I was doing the yarn over method, this moving part would be to the front. I hope that makes sense. It's just something that I noticed when I was crocheting. What we're going to do now for the next round, I'll take my stitch marker out, and we're not increasing now, we're just going to work 1 in each, and we're going to do this for 14 rows. So under both loops of that first one, yarn under and through, yarn under and through both. Get that stitch marker, very important, place it in the first one, okay? And then just 1 single crochet, yarn under method in each one around. Look closely, make sure you're not missing any. Always count back after each round is completed. Make sure you've got the 12. Okay, I'm going to pause the video and I will come back when I have done my 14 rows. And then I'll show you the decrease part of it in completing the first arm. Okay. Now that's me got up to my 14 rows. So you can see them all there stacked on top of each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so now what we're going to do, sorry, excuse my stuffy nose. What we're going to do is we are going to decrease down from 12 to 8 stitches, just to taper in the top of the arm and makes it smaller for attaching to the body when we get to that point. So we're going to do an invisible decrease, which is you prick up the front loop only of the first stitch. Sorry, it's not coming into focus very well. And then you're going to go straight under and pick up the front loop only of the stitch beside it. You're going to grab your yarn under, pull it under both of those 2, yarn under and pull through your 2 loops. So you've pulled 2 stitches together to make 1 invisibly. So it'll be much less noticeable that you've done so. Place a stitch marker. I do recommend closing these because they are like safety pins and they hurt when they jab you. Now we are going to do a single crochet only in the next stitch. Another tip when you have done an invisible decrease is to work into the front loop only when working your next single crochet. So I'm going to pick up front loop only for that and complete a single crochet as normal. And then we're going to decrease again. So into here and into here, yarn over, pull under those 2, front loop only, and complete that one, and then front loop only for the next normal single crochet, and then front loop only, front loop only, pull it through and through, and then front loop only for the normal single, front loop only, front loop only, pull through and through, and then the last one here, front loop only, pull through. And then if I take my stitch marker out and I count around the top, I always start where my loop is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit out of focus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 stitches. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to work another 3 rows on just the 8 stitches, and then I'll come back and show you how to tie it off at the end. Now I've completed my 3 rows smaller, so you can see where we've decreased here, and it's just tapering in at the top. Now when you're doing this size of yarn, DK yarn, you can stuff or not stuff the arms. It's completely up to yourself. Even if it's bigger, you don't have to stuff them. Just bear in mind they'll just kind of go flat, but it's quite nice for them to sit flat against the body. If you stuff them too firm, the arms are probably going to be poking out at this angle against the body. So if you do stuff them, I would just lightly stuff the wider part of the bottom and not up the top here. Keep that empty. So we'll just recount our rows again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 rows. That is the length of the arm for the DK weight teddy. Don't know if you can see here, your stitches form little crosses when you do the yarn under method, which is quite nice. People call them little kisses. Sorry. Apologies. So all we need to do now is fasten our yarn off. You don't have to leave a certain length of tail because we're going to be crocheting it into place with the working yarn of the piece that we're making at the time. So all we need to do is do a slip stitch to close that down. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and then I just snip off to as far as this finger, and then pull that tail through, and that is one arm complete. So obviously you need 2 of these. So same method again, go ahead, crochet your next arm, and then the next video we will start on the legs and up to the body. Okay.